Welcome to Cricworld, unveiling the history of cricket. Welcome to Cricworld, your ultimate destination for unraveling the fascinating past of one of the world's most cherished sports. Designed especially for cricket historians, this series delves beyond the surface, uncovering the game's rich heritage. From its modest beginnings on England's grassy fields in the 16th century to emerging as a global phenomenon, cricket's evolution weaves a compelling story. We'll revisit legendary players, historic rivalries, groundbreaking records, and iconic matches that shaped cricket's legacy. Join us as we celebrate cricket's cultural and historical significance. Subscribe now for a deeper dive into the defining tales of this beloved sport. Let's begin. Origins and evolution of cricket. Cricket was created during Sean or Norman times by children living in the Weald, an area of dense woodlands and clearings in southeast England that lies across Kent and Sussex. The first definite written reference is from the end of the 16th century. There have been several speculations about the game's origins, including some that it was created in France or Flanders. The earliest of these speculative references is from 1300 and concerns the future King Edward II playing at Craig and other games in both Westminster and Newenden. It has been suggested that Craig was an Old English word for cricket, but expert opinion is that it was an early spelling of crack, meaning fun and games in general. It is generally believed that cricket survived as a children's game for many generations before it was increasingly taken up by adults around the beginning of the 17th century. Possibly cricket was derived from bowls, assuming bowls is the older sport, by the intervention of a batsman trying to stop the ball from reaching its target by hitting it away. Playing on sheep-grazed land or in clearings, the original implements may have been a matted lump of sheep's wool or even a stone or a small lump of wood. As the ball, a stick or a crook or another farm tool as the bat, and a stool or a tree stump or a wicket gate. It's the wicket. The origins of cricket, a historical and cultural reflection. Cricket, a game beloved by millions today, traces its earliest roots to the charming landscapes of Guildford, Surrey. Around 1550, John Derrick, a pupil at the Royal Grammar School, then the Free School, testified in a 1597 court case about playing a game called cricket with his schoolmates on common land. This testimony, delivered by Derrick decades later as a 59-year-old coroner, stands as the earliest undeniable reference to cricket being played. This moment encapsulates the fusion of leisure and community in 16th century England and links the sport's origins to Surrey's cultural heritage. By 1611, cricket had matured beyond a pastime for schoolboys. Historical records reveal 2 Sussex men were prosecuted for playing cricket on a Sunday, defying church obligations, a sign of the sport's growing popularity among adults. The same year, a dictionary labeled cricket a boys' game, implying a cultural transition as adults grew smitten with its charm. By 1660, competitive matches such as one held between the Weald and Upland point to cricket's rising significance, not just as a sport, but as a marker of England's vibrant communal spirit. From humble beginnings on Guildford's fields, cricket has flourished into a cultural treasure, igniting passion across centuries for fans worldwide. Derivation of the name of cricket. The term cricket carries a rich tapestry of cultural and linguistic history. First referenced as cracket, its name likely evolved from Middle Dutch crick, meaning a stick, or Old English crick, denoting a crutch or staff. Additionally, the French word criquet, wooden post, and the Middle Dutch kriekstoel, a low stool resembling early wickets, offer fascinating ties to the game's physical elements. These words hint at early cricket's humble, practical roots. Cricket's terminology reflects the influence of southeast England's dialects, shaped by trade with Flanders in the 15th century. From Middle Dutch phrases like met de cricket saam, with the stick chase, we glimpse European exchanges. Delving into cricket's name unveils a blend of cross-cultural evolution, now immortalized in this cherished global sports history. The Commonwealth. After the Civil War ended in 1648, England entered a transformative period under Puritan rule. The government imposed strict laws against unlawful assemblies, targeting energetic pastimes such as football. Cultural life became more subdued with rigid restrictions, including a stricter observance of the Sabbath. For the lower classes, whose only leisure time was Sundays, opportunities for recreation diminished significantly. Despite these challenges, cricket found refuge in England's fee-paying schools like Winchester and St. Paul's, thriving in structured settings. Contrary to popular belief, there is no direct evidence that Oliver Cromwell's regime banned cricket outright. It was tolerated as long as it respected Sabbath laws. Cricket's growing popularity among the nobility during this era highlights its evolving cultural significance as the sport connected villages and higher social classes alike. Gambling and press coverage in cricket's early days. Cricket flourished in the vibrant social climate of Restoration England, 1660, evolving from a pastime into a spectacle that drew widespread interest, particularly from gamblers. Historians suggest that this era gave rise to the first top-class cricket matches, fueled by extravagant bets. The Gaming Act of 1664, passed by the Cavalier Parliament, sought to moderate this frenzy, capping stakes at £100, an enormous sum equal to about £19,000 today. By 1690, cricket's reputation as a gambling sport was cemented, as seen in reports of an 11-a-side Sussex match played for stakes of 50 guineas each. The late 17th century brought another pivotal moment: press freedom. 1600, cricket gained attention in newspapers for the first time, but reports predominantly highlighted wagers rather than gameplay. In the 18th century, as cricket matured, the press started shaping its narrative, though early coverage mirrored the era's penchant for betting over sport. This interplay between cricket, media, and society marked the beginning of cricket's enduring legacy in history. Cricket, from aristocratic beginnings to global spectacle. In the heart of England's Restoration era, in 1660, gambling birthed the first patrons of cricket. Determined to strengthen their wagers, noble gamblers assembled teams by recruiting skilled village cricketers, the earliest professionals. Out of this culture emerged the county teams, with the earliest known match played in 1697, likely Sussex against another county. By 1709, county-named fixtures became common. Key patrons like the 2nd Duke of Richmond and Sir William Gage brought prestige to cricket in the 1720s, as newspapers celebrated players like Thomas Waymark. These aristocrats, blending passion with spectacle, gradually shaped cricket into a cherished cultural tradition. As British colonialism surged in the 17th and 18th centuries, cricket transcended England's borders. Introduced to North America even before reaching northern England, it soon graced the West Indies, the Indian subcontinent, and Australia. Cricketers played in New Zealand and South Africa by the 19th century, embedding the sport into colonial identities. While the game thrived in regions like Australia and India, cultural competition from baseball stagnated cricket in Canada. Despite challenges, cricket evolved into a unifying cultural force, celebrated passionately worldwide at global events, uniting enthusiasts who revere its storied history and shared traditions. The evolution of cricket, laws and early growth. The origins of cricket's foundational rules, bat and ball, wickets, pitch dimensions and dismissal methods, remain clouded in mystery. but by 1728, significant strides were made. The Duke of Richmond and Alan Brodick drafted the Articles of Agreement, formalizing play and addressing stake money and rewards, reflecting the era's gambling culture. In 1744, the first codification of cricket laws was achieved, establishing critical standards later amended in 1774 to include LBW, a middle stump, and bat width restrictions. Drawn up by the Star and Garter Club, these laws were eventually inherited by the Marylebone Cricket Club, MCC, upon its formation in 1787, marking the MCC as cricket's enduring law custodian. By the mid-18th century, cricket expanded across England, with Yorkshire's mention in 17 as a cricketing venue. A pivotal innovation occurred post-70 when bowling evolved from ground rolling to pitched deliveries, prompting the introduction of the straight bat. Clubs like London and Slindon thrived, but Hambledon stood above all, becoming cricket's nucleus during its prime from the 1760s to 1780s. Legendary players such as John Small and Thomas Brett graced its fields, laying the foundation for first-class cricket. By 1772, scorekeeping began, revealing detailed statistical records, with Hambledon hosting many historic matches that immortalized cricket's transformation into a structured sport. The rise of 19th century cricket. The 19th century marked a pivotal transformation in cricket's history, reshaping it from local matches to a structured sport. This era saw the creation of modern county clubs, beginning with the establishment of Sussex in 1839. These clubs defined the roots of cricket's competitive spirit. However, they soon faced a challenge when William Clark formed the All England 11 in 1846. This travelling team, a blend of enterprise and passion, brought high-quality cricket to towns untouched by the game. Though short-lived, its impact on spreading cricket's appeal remains substantial. Ultimately, county clubs and the Marylebone Cricket Club, MCC, cemented cricket's organised foundation. The railway revolution deeply influenced cricket's growth, allowing distant teams to compete and enabling fans to travel for matches, fostering a vibrant spectator culture. Concurrently, British Army units spread cricket throughout the empire, where locals adopted it as recreation and cultural connection. Even Wisden Cricketer's Almanac, first published in 1864, chronicled this expanding enthusiasm. W.G. Grace, the era's cricketing titan, revolutionized batting techniques and became a cultural icon, fueling cricket's flourishing reputation. International cricket began modestly, with the first match in 1844 between the US and Canada. Tours followed, most notably the 1877 England-Australia matches that birthed Test cricket and the Ashes, establishing a rivalry cherished by fans globally. By 1889, South Africa joined England and Australia, solidifying cricket as an international phenomenon and enduring cultural legacy. Rise and fall of cricket and baseball, a cultural and historical perspective. Cricket once held a strong presence in America, fueled by informal variants like wicket, which allowed for higher scoring matches within an afternoon. Yet the American Civil War proved pivotal. Soldiers acquainted with baseball during wartime brought it home. Baseball's shorter duration and adaptability to any terrain, unlike cricket's formal pitches, made it practical for mobile troops. Historian William Humber highlights baseball's acceptance in the New World, contrasting with England's social taboos. These factors not only cemented baseball in the US, but extended its influence to Japan, spreading through America's Pacific Rim connections, where cultural adaptation mirrored global power shifts. Introduced to Latin America in the 19th century, cricket flourished amongst British expatriates and elites, but struggled to engage the general populace. American cultural ascendancy, coupled with British expatriates returning during World War I, positioned baseball as the preferred bat and ball sport in the Caribbean and Mexico. This regional shift reflects broader colonial and socio-political narratives, where sports became markers of global influence. The evolution of 20th century cricket. Steeped in colonial history, cricket spread across the British Empire, forging a legacy that would last centuries. The establishment of the Imperial Cricket Conference, ICC, in 1909 marked a watershed moment, with England, Australia and South Africa as the original powerhouses. These nations, deemed equals, aimed to manage and regulate cricket globally. By 1926, New Zealand and the West Indies joined the elite test-playing ranks. However, the game in the West Indies remained dominated by their white population, and the ICC showed little ambition to expand beyond Commonwealth nations. Despite restrictions such as New Zealand's 3-day test cap, India and Pakistan were admitted before mid-century, gradually diversifying the cricketing domain. Pakistan's advocacy led to the inclusion of non-test playing countries in 1965, birthing the concept of associate members. Renamed the International Cricket Conference, the ICC oversaw cricket's evolution with the introduction of one-day internationals and the first World Cup in the 1970s. Despite resistance, Sri Lanka earned Test status in 1982, breaking barriers. The inclusion of affiliate members in 1984 paved the way for nations like Zimbabwe, Bangladesh, Afghanistan, and Ireland to rise, expanding cricket's reach to 12 full members by 2018. While Western nations governed early cricket, the sport's growth became a beacon for cultural inclusivity and international camaraderie. The political backdrop of apartheid cast a long shadow on cricket. When South Africa exited the Commonwealth in 1961, it was forced out of the ICC. The turning point came in 1968, with Basil d'Oliveira's exclusion from South African tours highlighting racial prejudice. In 1970, the ICC suspended South Africa indefinitely, a statement of cricket's stance against apartheid. In defiance, South Africa funded controversial rebel tours, offering lucrative deals to international players. Despite these attempts, global condemnation persisted. As apartheid crumbled, South Africa re-emerged in 1991 under Nelson Mandela's leadership, a rainbow nation celebrating its return to cricket's international fold, an inspiring chapter of reconciliation in sports history. World Series Cricket, a revolution in the gentleman's game. 1977 marked a seismic shift in cricket when Australian media magnate Kerry Packer challenged the traditions of the sport, ignited by disagreements over TV rights and players' modest pay. In an act that defied cricket's aristocratic roots, Packer launched World Series Cricket, signing top global players, including banned South Africans, to create an independent league free from international cricket's rigid hierarchy. While the schism ended in 1979, it forced cricket into a modern era, introducing higher wages, night games, and vibrant colored kits. Parallel transformations occurred in the 1960s with limited overs cricket. Often criticized by purists, this faster-paced format enthralled spectators. By the 1970s, one-day internationals redefined cricket's accessibility and commercial success, paving the way for an evolving legacy. Cricworld, where fans unite. That's a wrap for today's thrilling episode of Cricworld. We hope you relished this journey through the heart of cricket and uncovered new insights about the sport we all love. Cricket is more than just a game. It's a shared passion that brings us together. Be part of our fast-growing community of cricket enthusiasts. Hit the like button, share this video with fellow fans, and help us spark conversations that keep the cricket spirit alive. Subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so you're always in the loop for fresh cricket stories, in-depth player profiles, and exciting match analyses. Until next time, let's celebrate cricket together. Thanks for watching and see you soon at Cricworld. Cheers.